say there was something, but you say there was nothing, but you say it with a smile.
Whoa.
What up?
Dang. All right. Welcome to the Fifth Quarter Fantasy Cast. It's your boy, Coach Veee and Dr. Drye, who is one of the Island Boys today.
I'm a just island boy. Yeah, Vinny still hasn't seen the Island Boys after all these years, so
Yeah.
he has something to Google later. But
Is that-
anyway, yeah, welcome to Fifth Quarter Fantasy Cast. I'm Dr. Drye. I'm here with Coach V, and we really out here. He's a certified boy, and my pronouns are him and him because I just keep winning at fantasy. So,
Yeah.
so Vinny, how was your week this week?
I had a great week. I was 3-0 in the leagues that matter and still cannot win in the league. I'm 1-9 or 1-8 in this league. I haven't won since week 1. I update every week. I'm active on the waiver wire. I try to play the matchups. I cannot win in this league, but I'm happy to be 3-0 in all the leagues I actually care about. Playing all those Texans. I got a Texan going in every league, and it's fun when your boys are popping off. So yeah, it felt good.
Get a Dale, yeah, brother.
Good stuff. Yeah, that was special request from Matt to getting us started tonight. Moneymaker Matt is one of our most loyal 125%ers, so thank you for always bringing it in the comments section. But yeah, that's tough whenever. So, and your points for are good? Are you just running into a buzzsaw every week or just starting the wrong guys or what?
Points for are terrible. Can't score any points.
Yeah.
Now this week I had like the second highest points, but I went up against the person with the first highest points. So one of those.
That sucks. You got Jode. Yeah, that's what that is. Yeah, that's tough. Yeah, I'm so in our dynasty league, I saw you made a big move giving up your first rounder, which could be the 1.1 in next year's draft.
Yeah.
But you got I believe Zay Flowers. Oh, Ben Hall's here. That's wonderful.
Hey,
Yes, Commissioner of the Year, Ben Hall. Thanks for tuning in. He's got a nice, handsome picture going and everything. So, yes, we will talk about our Lord and Savior Rashad White at some point. So yeah, look forward to that, Ben. Thanks for tuning in. So yeah, we got a couple people in the house tonight. That's great. So my week though, let's see, I have a really good dynasty league team, and then one with a really shitty record that is pretty good. But we have improved to 4-6, and like we're just scoring very high every week. So anyway, I was like, well, I can either tank, but I kind of traded away my first rounder to Moneymaker Matt, and I don't have a first rounder, so there's no point. So might as well go for the whole thing and be one of those bullshit 7-6 champions or something. So team's hitting the right stride and everything. But anyway, yeah, just overall, I think it was a pretty average week, but it was fun watching all them Texans go off, and I don't know, Titans back to old form, but it was a cool week in fantasy for sure. So now this I don't know, the list is getting shorter and shorter because I feel like they either shit the bed or they're an 11th McNugget lately. But who do you have on your Hillshire Farms Holiday Sausage, Cheese and Cracker Gift Basket of Disappointment Award?
So mine is going out to which, we were really saddened by just the Jaguars overall this week. But one of the highlights of the Jags all season has been ETN. Shout out to Tom and Waits for Men, who pronounces Travis Etienne as Travis Etienne. He goes way overly fancy with the guy's name. And like every week we correct him. We're like, ETN, and he's like Etienne. It's like, and so Travis Etienne, who's been like the bright spot, and like I've really taken the Hillshire Award and turned it into like, you are a guy there's no reason this shouldn't have worked out, and you messed up this week. And like, there's no reason Etienne should have had a bad week. But he did. He had a terrible week. The whole offense was down. Everything was down. And so it sucked. Now, I don't have any shares, but we can sympathize with people that we don't even have shares of. And so it sucked to see him have a bad week. Hopefully he doesn't get drugged down with the rest of the offense as they're dealing with some sort of weirdness. Or it might just be they don't play well against good competition. They can only beat up on the AFC South, except for the Texans. Here come the Texans. Look out for them.
Yeah.
And so Travis Etienne / Etienne is my Hillshire Farms disappointment this week. What about you?
Yeah, Travis Eaton ass for sure is should be on that Hillshire list. And I put his boys on an even worse list that we'll get into here in a minute. But me staying in the AFC South, and we already kind of alluded to this, but and these were players that we were just like to the moon. Will Levis everywhere. I drank a a Levis latte for nothing. Like I thought that would just turn the Titans' fortunes around, and we'd have a nice fantasy quarterback who can get the ball to DeAndre Hopkins and all that stuff. Maybe Traylon Burks revitalizes his career. Chiggy gets going, something. Well, back to reality. Oh, there goes gravity. We got DeAndre Hopkins and Will Levis on this list. And the thing is, it's not even really their fault. Like, Levis hasn't looked bad. Hopkins hasn't looked bad. But if Levis is laying on his back the whole time, like, not sexually, but like, getting knocked on his back on the field, he can't get the ball over to DeAndre Hopkins. So he gets no passing yards. DeAndre gets no receiving yards. And it's all that O-line. That O-line's horrible. They are who was it? I think one of their tackles, Andre Dillard, got hurt this weekend. And we don't wish injury on anybody, but please take all the time you need to get better, sir. Because he has been the cause of so much. And it's kind of like one of those things where it's like, okay, it's better that you get hurt than you get one of your friends hurt, So somebody's going to get hurt with him playing out there. He's a liability. Physically, mentally, sexually, all around, just not good for the Titans. So anyway, that's how Will Levis and DeAndre Hopkins end up on this list. And I mean, you might as well throw King Henry on there too. I mean, he usually finds a way, but like he's been kind of ass lately too. So I don't know, like in their defense, like the Steelers, like they weren't blocking anybody on there. That defense gets after it, and you put the worst offensive line in professional and college football against the Steelers defense. They're going to get home several times. And then Tampa Bay's got a good defense too. So who knows? Maybe we need to go against an average defense or something. But enough about that. Let's get even worse with the Sleep Number Shit the Bed Award. And we'll go ahead and we got, and it's kind of small here. I think the bed's getting a little filled. Mainly because of Arthur Smith's fat ass right there at the bottom. But yeah, you notice there's Calvin Ridley's on there twice. I think that tells you something. I know I'm about done with the guy. He a butt cheese boy in the making, someone that I was super duper high on, drafted him everywhere. There's not a league I didn't have him in. I've traded him away in one or two. But yeah, he's officially on the bench, and you just can't start the guy. Along with his girlfriend Trevor Lawrence, who is also on there. And you expected big things out of him. We were expecting him to take that next leap. He was on a list that we're going to get into later, that we were really high on, and made our whole preseason debut, fifth core fantasy cast. This is who we are. This is the hill we're going to die on. Here are our players. Start them or else, and nobody's panning out. So, those were my two guys. I don't know, like they've been in smash spots and they just have not performed. So Calvin Ridley and Trevor Lawrence as a couple, they are our Sleep Number Shit the Bed Award from my end. Now, who did you put on there? He looks pretty high profile to me.
Yeah. I've been holding off. We all been holding off, probably holding out hope for Tony Pollard. And yeah, Ben Hall coming in with the hot take. Spears season is upon us. I mean, he did outscore Henry. I think Spears had about maybe 8 to 10 fantasy points, and Henry had like
Yeah,
less than 5. So,
he
um,
gets his dog.
yeah, I mean,
Hit
Spears
me,
is
baby, one more time.
it might be time. I don't know. I mean, if they keep sucking, let's just play. Let's kick the tires on Levis. Let's see what we got there for real. Let's play Spears. Give him like full time snaps. See what happens with that. Let's just play all the rookies and see what happens. And so yeah, Tony Pollard. He's my S to B. It's been he hasn't scored a touchdown since week 1. He got outscored by Rico Dowdle this past week. Like this is not good. This is not the guy we signed up for. I love the guy. We love the guy. He's like, it's really sad to see this happen. I don't know what the deal is. He just doesn't have the explosiveness that he had in previous years. And so yeah, but the problem, and this is like a little secondary question, the problem is how do you move on from him? You probably invested a second round pick in him.
Yeah.
You don't drop a guy like that, like unless you just have to. I'm guessing like maybe if you got to make room for Noah Brown on your team and you got to drop Tony Pollard, maybe. But like, who's like coming off the waiver wire that you're just sending Tony Pollard, out of your
It's
team?
such a dilemma
Yeah,
because right now he feels like a roster clogger,
yeah,
and eventually, like, it's just gonna, like, it's gonna be too late, and then you're missing some firepower there that you expect out of a second round pick, right? So I mean, yeah, Tony Pollard, I don't know if you're quite dropping him yet. Here's one thing. He's going against the Carolina Panthers this week. Everybody does well against the Carolina
yeah,
Panthers. If he can't perform against the Carolina Panthers, I think that's where you're really comfortable cutting him.
yeah.
I mean, we've seen 10 weeks of it. He hasn't been good since week 1 or 2. So, like, and it's crazy how that's crept up on us. And you just, some players, you're just like, well, he's my second round pick. He's starting forever until, he, I don't know, but it's been 2 months, so maybe
Yeah,
it is time for you to officially put him in the bed, and
yeah,
uh, and with these other jabronis on here. So,
yeah,
and people have turned it around from being on this list before. Calvin Ridley didn't, but like, I don't know, Jahan Dotson, he's been, and he should be on it this week,
yeah,
but
yeah.
because how in the he double fuck do you score 0 points with Sam Howell going off like that? Um, just I don't know. You just got some wildly inconsistent guys, and like Dak Prescott randomly turned it around. Joe Burrow definitely turned it around. Javante Williams starting to turn it around.
Ooh, man.
Um, yeah, so there's a couple on here, but for the most part, this list is pretty accurate.
Yeah.
Like, it's if you ask the B once, you ask the B twice, you're forever in the bed. So that is our worst part of the week, putting people on the S the B award.
So let's make it happy and let's talk about some nugs, some
Yeah.
11th McNuggets that you want to celebrate this week. So
Yes.
who are your McDonald's 11th McNugget for you this week?
So we've got quite the list here. First, want to address Ben's comment earlier about our Lord and Savior, Mr. Rashad White. He was on here just last week, so he was our 11th McNugget Award last week, and then he proved it again this week. Love what he's doing. I think, I know Ben's someone who's been on him since, at least this summer, probably earlier. I think he's liked him for a couple years, but was
Yeah,
just kind of waiting for him to get that opportunity.
yeah,
And it took a while, but these last couple weeks have been great. Like I mean, he had the long touchdown this week. He did everything last week. So yeah, I mean, Rashad White, yeah, huge. I think we just got to throw out some appreciation for him. So I appreciate Ben bringing that up. But
yeah.
any thoughts on Rashad? Do you have him anywhere, or just admire him from afar?
Yeah, I don't have them anywhere. Sexy Rexy at work has them. And it was a keeper league, so he got him in the 14th round last year, and so he got to keep Rashad White this year. And
Nice.
so, he's got this 14th round pick over here just scoring like at RB2, RB1 level. So he's having
Man,
a really good season. So he's definitely taken a victory lap around the building with his Rashad Wright 14th round pick.
right. Yeah, definitely, man. Yeah, and I love hearing about those keeper leagues where it's like I don't know, like, oh, I drafted Jamar Chase's rookie year, like in the 17th round, so now I have to pay a 15th rounder for him, and like it's just ridiculous, and like so that's how you can really end up with several guys if it's a league that keeps several of them, it's really exciting, but yeah, like if you draft well and you draft deep, you can definitely run into those guys.
Yeah.
So some of these players kind of look like Madden created players, just from their player profile. And so the McDonald's 11th McNugget Award goes to these are the guys that were those good surprises. You go through that McDonald's line, get yourself a nice 10-piece, and you're going to count them before you start eating them. So you see that 11th McNugget, and you're like, oh, wow. I'm really happy with that. So we have these guys as our McDonald's 11th McNugget Award winners. Shout out to McDonald's for unofficially sponsoring us. I'm loving it. These guys, these created players. Can you recognize who the guy in the very middle is, Vinny?
Yeah, I know who that is. That's little Dookie Shoes. That's Noah Brown.
Noah Brown, yeah. Yeah, Noah Brown saying, yes, you just scored me a lot of points this week. So definitely pickup of the week. I know our buddy Ben over here in the comment section started him in, I think it was in the Revival League. But yeah, Noah Brown, was just out of nowhere. He went crazy. But CJ Stroud he's becoming one of my favorite players for fantasy, honestly, just with how he's feeding our boy Tank Dell. How he's now getting Noah Brown involved. Nico Collins, when he comes back, is going to be good. Even like
Schultz's pants.
Yeah, Schultz's pants. Dalton, he's getting points. Like he's a very consistent tight end like this year, which that's pretty cool. And he was one of those tight ends that like in deeper leagues I would draft him, and then he kind of crapped his pants for a couple weeks there, and at the beginning, so I dropped him, and then he wasn't available again because someone was chasing touchdowns and picked him up. Yeah. So yeah, Noah Brown, he's on there for one of my 11th McNugget Awards. We have not Arthur Smith on there. He'll never be on this list because and surprisingly, I think Bijan got some decent carries this week. So
Bijan got some red zone carries. Got a touchdown this week. But it's Arthur Smith. We don't care. We still hate him. We're not gonna be happy with him ever.
Bijan's gonna have 5 for 21 next week. So at no fault of his own. Then we got Sam Howell. I mean, like, I don't think he's good for real football, but he'll get you. Like, he won't throw it to the right guys, but he'll get his, which is great. I think he had like 3 touchdowns again.
Yeah.
And like Jahan Dotson 0, and then like I think McLaurin had like 3 or 4 fantasy points or something bad like that. So Sam Howell though, just a gamer. He's like what we wish Taylor Heineke would be this year.
Yeah.
So that's been cool. And then someone that we both love, the Pastronaut, Josh Sexy Man Dobbs, no hair, don't care. He is aerodynamic. He's running the show over in Minnesota. And he's only been there the last couple weeks, but we've been waiting on Jettas to come back. Yeah. And it's like, oh, they're probably going to lose all these games, and then he's not going to want to come back, and all this stuff. Yeah. But they've gone 5-0 during this stretch. Who needs Justin Jefferson, right? So, anyway, but yeah, thank goodness, because they went 5-0. Justin Jefferson should be coming right back, which will be wonderful for fantasy. And I think Dobbs is somebody who airs it out enough to where you're kind of cool with that. Like, Like you're not like, oh no, Cousins to Dobbs, like this is the worst thing ever. It's not like he's going down to like I don't know, like Kenny Pickett or someone like shitty like that, you know. So, and the Candyman's here. So
Oh,
shout out to the Candyman just
yes.
being here with the cool sunglasses. So, so yeah, we got Astro Dobbs in here, obviously, just balling out, balling, going crazy. And the cool part, like they kind of like they'll kind of like let up a little bit. So like the other team, like they're just such a fancy friendly matchup. The Vikings are kind of like the Detroit Lions last year, whenever their defense was really bad, but their offense was really good. So you know that's fancy friendly, and I'm all for that. Like I could care less about who wins and loses, unless it means our boy Justin Jefferson coming back. So great job, Josh Dobbs. And
Yeah.
then you have a newcomer here. He's a little smaller than everybody else, but that's just because he's short. So
Yeah.
who you got
Yeah.
up there?
We have the adult baby, aka Kyler Murray. So he took a minute. I feel like Kyler Murray, he orders the Happy Meal when he goes to McDonald's. Like it's like, yum, and
Yeah,
then he gets stuffed on like a 4-piece, and he like
yeah,
it's like, oof, I don't think I can finish my apple slices, Mom. Like that's Kyler
yeah.
Murray. He's
Yeah,
just like,
he's like, I'd like to win the fifth McNugget award.
and so yeah. I mean, I people go, you picked him up and you started him. For me, it was more like I stashed him and then I started him the first week he was back. Like I
You
stashed
were
him
waiting.
2 weeks ago, and in leagues where I needed a quarterback, actually it worked out pretty good because this was like a no Eagles week, and I have a lot of Jalen Hurts, and I was like, all right, here you go, Kyler, play football, and he did. He came in. The only thing that pissed me off was they gave Clayton Tune a tush push touchdown, and I'm like,
Oh,
you let Kyler Murray just run like 60 yards around the field and almost die, and then you're not going to let him get pushed into the end zone for the touchdown. So that pissed me off.
not
But he
cool.
got the one rushing touchdown. He looked good. Man, him and Trey McBride have a connection. Like that was crazy.
Yeah.
Like I went full bore. Which this is in the league I don't give a rip about anymore. I just try to make honestly, my goal in this league now is to have just interesting lineups. They're just lineups full of ceiling and like no floor to speak of. So
Is that
like,
the 1-8 team?
yeah, that's the 1 in 18. So I try to set fun lineups that someone goes, I'm not sure if I want to play against that or if I'm going to kill that team, like one way or the other. And so I had Kyler and McBride going. I was just like, yeah, let's just do it. Let's just see what happens this week. And that was fun. That was fun to watch. And so hopefully, as he shakes more of the rust off, he becomes quite the fantasy asset as we're heading into fantasy playoffs and all that kind of stuff. Because this was his get back into the groove game. So yeah,
Yeah.
that was really nice to see.
I like watching that little fella run around. Like he's like and whenever you watch him on TV, you feel like his helmet's too big for his body and it's like one of those like big bobbleheads running around everywhere. And so he's fun. I don't know. I feel like he takes twice as many steps as like a regular sized quarterback would take. So it's fun to watch.
Yeah.
And then, Matt, he's got a good question here. How about Gibbs, or a good statement, which this was a statement for, or the last 3 weeks have been a statement for Jahmyr Gibbs himself, but how about Gibbs getting a bigger role in Detroit? I love it. Like, I mean, we all love it. He's on the God squad. He's one of our few that have panned out and everything. I did rage trade him over to Matt a few weeks ago and kind of regret that, but now someone else can reap the benefits and love on him too. I still have him in another dynasty league, so I'm happy about that. But yeah, I love that. And we weren't asking for all of the carries over in Detroit. We think that
I think
Gibbs and Montgomery can coexist. Like there's two very good fantasy running backs there. Obviously, we love Gibbs a lot more, but more fantasy relevant running backs is never a bad thing. So yeah, that was just, if anyone deserves, and so he's not really a surprise, like not a McNugget this week because he's proven himself a couple weeks now. But I think Dan Campbell deserves to be on this McNugget Award list for finally listening to Fifth Quarter Fantasy Cast and the rest of the world, and sees that Jahmyr Gibbs is better than Montgomery and should be out there quite a bit. So Gibbs getting more work. Oh, love it.
So before we head into the second half of our little thing, we have a new sponsor who put in a little bid for us, and so they're going to pop on here. So hope you enjoy this ad from Pabst Blue Ribbon.
Hi, this is Boots Donnelly. When I'm not busy coaching the Blue Raiders, I like to drink a Pabst Blue Ribbon. So next time you're cracking a Pabst, make sure you dedicate your next DUI to me, Boots Donnelly.
All right, thanks, Boots.
Thanks, Boots.
Appreciate that.
That was so good live. I love the pauses in that. That was awesome.
So yeah, he loves Pabst. Pabst approached him. He wanted to be on the show. We have a big college following, or we have a big middle school following. So give him a good 10 years and then drinking some Pabst. So
dedicate your next DUI to Boots Donnelly. Boots.
I think Boots had dipped into the Pabst when he was making that ad. He was just a little slow on the uptake there.
Man.
So our next segment is what? Are we just gonna talk about how much we love Josh Dobbs?
I think that's the plan here. So Josh Dobbs, like we all know, he looks good. He looks great in a Vikings uniform. Probably looks better with it off. But Josh Dobbs, man, what he's done, and we already kind of said everything that I think we wanted to say, just unnecessarily in the segment before. But I mean, yeah, I mean, I think he presents a good situation for Justin Jefferson to come back to. They did go 5-0 during that stretch. They are, I think, 7th in the NFC last I checked.
Yeah.
And but like it's one of those things where like they win one game, they could bump up to like 5th or something. Like so, I mean, they are in the Lions division, which kind of sucks, but they could easily lock up one of those wild card spots, right? So I mean, yeah, Josh Dobbs, what a savior. What a he should be on the God Squad if we did like a mid-season God Squad. I think he's just so important to that franchise. And poor guy, I think he gets traded every couple months, and he just can never settle down and buy a home or rent an apartment or anything like that. He has to like stay on someone's couch because it's like, oh, I'm gonna play well, but I'll probably get traded for no reason. A couple weeks later or something. So luckily we're past the trade deadline, and I think he's just a great option for Justin Jefferson to come back to.
Yeah, like I just love his story, how he's just a smart dude who has like that tenacity just to get after it. He can pick up things fast. Teams trust him. He gives hope to all like smart people who aren't necessarily just pure nerds who actually like care about sports too. Like, because you meet smart people who just like don't care about sports at all. He's like that cool blend of like both, and so I love that. He's like an inspiration. Also, like I thought it was interesting, like we were talking about on the radio, how he's basically just like printed himself another like 8 to 10 years of NFL backup checks. Like he can be a backup for the 8. And then they were like, yeah, and if he wants it, probably another 20 years of coaching checks in the NFL. He wants it. Like this guy's basically set this season. He needs to set himself for life financially, just by playing well, showing that he can go into any system and pick it up. And so it's just nice to see someone be successful. And, definitely we're biased having watched him at UT, and he was a great player at UT. And so it's just nice to see kind of one of your own get out there in the world and do good things.
Yeah, and he's he's kind of like our friend because he was a friend to one of our friends who was at UT at the time. So yeah, I guess so we're pretty much family by now. So we definitely cheer on Josh Dobbs. And if you say you didn't draft Josh Dobbs, but you want a chance to, why don't you go on over to Underdog Fantasy, use code Fifth Quarter Fantasy, and Underdog will match your deposit up to $100. That is your first deposit. So if you put in 50, you're going to get 100. If you put in 100, that's going to be 200, and then you can turn that into like $5, we're currently doing right now. Actually, we've won like $35, by the way.
Yeah.
So we're almost 100 airs. And we got some pretty bad teams that are doing it. Like we're pretty much very dependent on CJ Stroud and Tank Dell, but that's okay. So get your ass on over to Underdog Fantasy, bet some money, and have a good time, and get a handful of checks mix on your way out.
So we want to update everyone on the God Squad, and we've been talking about that for the past couple weeks. So let's take a formal look at the God Squad itself and where these boys are at today.
Do we have to?
I think, honestly, it's like half and half. It's like half and half.
It's really not that bad whenever you
Maybe
really
like
look at it.
60-40. It's really not bad.
Yeah, we'll be all right. So anyway, yeah, there's some glaring guys who have shit the bed that don't deserve to be up there with Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
So we do have the Sun God himself up there,
Yes.
which he is every bit of it. He give that man his wings. He'll lead you to the promised land. He'll lead you to those pearly gates. He'll get you into heaven with that fantasy championship. When God's there asking you, all right, how many good deeds have you done? Did you, all this stuff? How many fantasy football championships do you have? You'll at least be able to say one if you had the Sun God this year. So, so he belongs up there. And then another guy that we put in Jesus's other hand, Tony Pollard. No. Yeah, that I don't know what happened there. Like it was set up perfect for him to be the guy. Like we were so excited about Tony Pollard, and he's just not been that guy at all. Like, he only scored a few more fantasy points than you and I did last week.
Yeah, it was pretty terrible. And like they're trying to get him going, and he can't even like get going. I mean, he got stopped on like a 4th and 1 at the goal line. So it's like they're even trying to do like it's kind of like when San Francisco was trying to force CMC a touchdown so he could have his streak. They're like trying to do that with Pollard, but it's not working. So
yeah. What a pussy. Yeah. So he just I don't know. And like everybody like in that offense has been eating lately except for him. Yeah. Even like Michael Gallup was galloping into the end zone last week. He had a good game. So I don't know. They need to get it figured out with him, but I mean, they'll probably figure it out while he's on your bench. So, I think he's someone that you're borderline comfortable dropping. It is the trade deadline this week. If you find anybody kind of looking to buy low on him, maybe you take that chance with a high upside person heading into that stretch run there. But yeah, he's kind of sucked. So let's see, Anthony Richardson, rest in peace. Yeah. He was looking good, like I think, and he wasn't even like fully he wasn't even developed. Like that was just raw Richardson. So
yeah.
I mean that's just kind of injuries happen. So he's kind of like a fallen angel, I guess.
Yeah. So we're not going to kick him off the squad. He's just unfortunate. So yeah, and on the other side there, we already talked about the Jags. So we've already discussed they're on the shit the bed this week. So just didn't work out. We thought it was going to be a thing. Turned out it wasn't a thing. More positively though, I guess slightly more positively. And so Garrett Wilson, you're feeling kind of meh about.
Yeah, he should be like in the bottom of the clouds, like could fall, but like still could go up. But yeah, what the big bummer there was, an indirect injury that affects him, his quarterback, Aaron Rodgers going down. That really messed things up for him.
Yeah.
But he's still, even with like shitty Zach Wilson throwing it, he's still kind of somewhat gotten his. He's someone that like I don't know. I'm in like this little 8-man league for work, and he's on my bench pretty consistently. Like I'd rather start Tank Dell or someone like that. So I'll do that, and I'll bench Garrett Wilson. Like, and it feels weird to bench Garrett Wilson because I got that guy in like he was like a 3rd round pick in that league, but usually you're looking at like a 2nd rounder for him, right? So yeah, he's someone who I think is kind of near the bottom, but he can still be there. He can still turn around. He's been okay, I guess.
So we got a lot of youngsters at the bottom of the God squad here, and we're not honestly we're only upset with 2 of these youngsters, right? So
Yeah, I think so. I mean, like Kyle Shitz, like I think he's, maybe we don't put him on here again. Um, Damian Pierce, he's probably, I'm trying to think if he's been like you know what, Tony Pollard's probably our biggest disappointment just because he was like a unanimous choice. Like those 2 at the top, those were like the ones where both of us were like, yes, he's above everybody. Someone that's not in that 1st round, but can produce those, top numbers there. And every sign pointed to it, but it didn't happen. But Damian Pierce, he's been pretty damn disappointing. And he's out half the time now. Devin Singletary's kind of taken over. I think he's dead where he stands. So I think he's done for the year pretty much. Like even if he's active, I don't think he's going to do anything.
Yeah, and so our youthful wide receivers, definitely you're feeling okay with Zay Flowers. I feel like he's developing. He's also in a strange offense. I really underestimated how much like OBJ and Rashad Bateman and even like Aguilar were taking action away from Flowers until they came back.
Yeah.
Now that OBJ is starting to get going a little bit, you are seeing like Flowers isn't getting everything. But those few weeks where it was like Flowers was the option, he really was.
Flowers was blooming. Yeah.
But he's not having a bad season. I feel like he's having a like an average to above average rookie season. He's not exceeding, like he's not going to the roof, but I think he's on track to be a good player and like keep making development. So he's more of like a exciting dynasty player. Maybe someone that you're just pleasantly surprised with because you drafted him super late in a redraft league, and you're like, yeah, I can throw him in a bye week. And I'm like, hey, I'm going to get like floor 8 points, but ceiling like 17 points or something like that.
Yeah. He's someone who, I think he's one of those guys that like maybe he has a good second half to the year, and even if he doesn't, like he could be one of those year 2 breakouts. I can see him getting better in his 2nd year. So definitely a great dynasty. You're pretty excited with him. Someone that you're keeping if you do make cuts or anything. Like I think he'll withstand the cuts. And then, Kyle Pitts. I think we're pretty out on him just with John. Like, and that's half Arthur Smith's fault. Like, I bet if Kyle Pitts were to get traded or if there was a coaching change, I would love to see what would happen there. I think that would be the only thing that would get me back into Kyle Pitts, but he's just not used, man. And that's not really even his fault. But what can you do?
And so, Tank Dell, you know how we feel. We're not.
Can I get a Dell? Yeah, brother.
Hell yeah.
So we love Tank Dell. He's through the roof. He's exploded through the roof. I don't think his expectations were that high. He just did great, and we believed in him. We thought he was going to be great. The people who like. I feel like we're watching his like development. We're like, yeah, this guy's got something. And also maybe they understood that the Texans were going to have something this year with CJ Stroud. I think he's a product of his talent. but he's also a product of C.J. Stroud going off, their offensive scheme. They're just doing a great job all around as a team right now. They're just fun to watch. Like they make football fun right now. They don't give up. They keep throwing. They keep playing.
It was like those Lions last year. That's the kind of vibes I get from it, and you like watching them. You like the head coach. You like to see where they're going to end up. They just want to shoot out with the Cincinnati Bengals, like, and that's crazy. Like but yeah, Tank Dell, he's been every bit as advertised. I mean, he wasn't even advertised. Like, we were on him. Not many people were mentioning Tank Dell preseason, but I know we watched a lot of his highlights. We saw the college production. We saw the good situation. We know on draft night, C.J. Stroud specifically asked, "Hey, go get this guy. Like, I'd love to have him on here." They've developed that bond since day one, and there's something to be said about that. Sometimes that doesn't work out for everybody, but like they didn't even play college ball together, so it's that's usually like you're like, hey, go get my college receiver or something like that. They played at different colleges and just really hit it off. But yeah, I mean, Tank Dell's awesome. Like he and he's highly involved in the offense. I think he's a perfect example of whenever you see talent meet opportunity at an early stage in the career, and so that's why he's every bit of being on the God Squad. We should, man, if we had the balls to put Puka Nakua on here, that would be awesome. But but we were in on Puka too, just not, we weren't expecting what he's done. But I think he gets back on track too this week, by the way, because his quarterback's back. He doesn't have to deal with Brett Ripien or whatever the hell his name was. I know they signed Carson Wentz, and I was a little worried about that, but he still kind of slings it around.
Yeah.
But yeah, I bet Puka, like he continues success this week. But yeah, I mean, and then we got a couple running backs here to kind of, just get to the back end of the God Squad here. Javonte Williams starting to show it here later, like this last couple weeks, and I think we still expect more. We still expect more from a PPR standpoint out of him. I don't think he deserves God Squad. I know I was very, very high on him. Anyway, because I was like, all right, Sean Payton offense, they're going to run it. They're going to get those running backs involved. He may know he's going to put up Alvin Kamara early rookie numbers or something. It hasn't been the case. And he's been a little bit hurt and all that, but he has shown some glimpses, and we know that the talent's there, and we need the opportunity to be there, and it's starting to be there. So that's exciting. Excited to see what he does for the last half of the season.
Yeah, I think the game flow is better for the Broncos right now. They're staying in games because the defense is working out, and then that allows them to get Javonte going with almost 20 or over 20 carries. He's going to be a 20 carry kind of guy. Like, I think he needs that many to get going. And so if they're in the game plan's working. Also, one of the podcasts I listened to, one of the reporters is pretty in with Denver, and they were talking about how it's just like Sean Payton doesn't really trust Russell Wilson. Therefore, they're just going to give the ball to Javonte Williams. Like, so he's wanting to feed him 20-something carries a game. That's the game plan. So, hey, for Javonte Williams owners, that's a really good thing. And he's been scoring 15, 20 fantasy points the past couple of weeks. So you'll take that out of a RB2. Yeah, that'll be all right by me. Jahmyr Gibbs, we're loving it. We weren't loving it early on, but we're loving it now. I think they figured some stuff out here with him.
Talent was always there. He needed opportunity, and he had limited opportunities. He did the most he could with them. Anyway, so again, talent met opportunity. Talent was always there, and now Dan Campbell's starting to realize that, like, okay, Gibbs is good. This is why we drafted him. It's like, we've been trying to tell you that, Dan. Like, you gotta start tuning in. Like, we need more. We need him to be the 32nd subscriber for sure. So, Ben saying we should have put Rachaad White on here. Would have been good in the God Squad. Draft him in all my leagues but one. He's neat.
I don't think I would have put him on there. I don't think I believe.
Yeah, these are the people that like we were just obsessed with. I think Rashad White's cool and everything, but like I wasn't going out of my way to get him. So, but yeah, we should have listened. I mean, well, you know what? He's been good the last couple weeks. We'll see how it ends up. Hopefully, he ends up just blowing everybody out of the water. But he's had a good couple weeks, I think.
Yeah, and yeah, Matt. I don't think Pollard didn't tear his ACL. He like fractured his fibula or something like that. So, which because if he had torn his ACL, he would. I don't think there would have been as much hype around him going into this year. There would have been a little bit more people like tiptoeing around it. So yeah, he had like a fracture in his lower leg. But yeah,
yeah, and that's why Ben's
Ben's in his fan club.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't. You've been like telling me to trade Tony, but no one wants him. Like I've put him out.
Oh
there.
no, he's talking about our friend Tony that he traded with.
Oh, what did he trade? Who did he trade with?
Let me check. So this is in our Dynasty League, the Butt Cheese Boy Invitational. Let's see. There was a trade that went down. Okay, so yeah, so Matt unloaded shitty T Higgins for shitty George Pickens and a 2024 second.
Oh, I see this now. Interesting.
So I like it. I think T Higgins sucks really bad, and like George Pickens is wildly inconsistent. But I think I don't know. I'm just not a T Higgins person, man. Like I just like every chance I get to draft him, I don't. Like so.
And Higgins is going to be on a new team next year, and
Which could be.
There's no guarantee that that's a good team. It's kind of like there was no guarantee that DeAndre Hopkins went to a good team. He went to a team that was willing to give him money.
Yeah,
I don't think.
And T Higgins could end up in Tennessee too, which would suck if they don't fix that O line.
So T Higgins is underperforming on a great team. Let's fast forward, and you got T Higgins on the Titans. You got T Higgins with I don't know. You got T Higgins at New York Giants. Like, it's not going to work.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, and he got George Pickens. He's a Steelers fan, so sometimes it's nice to get that homer. You don't want to get too many of them, but sometimes it's nice to just have your boy on your team too, I guess. But I'm most excited about the 2024 second for you, and it's looking like a high second, like a good second, so like a beginning of the second, so basically a first. So you never know, and I think Matt's someone who does his research in the off season, and we'll find those rookies. I know he's already watching highlights. He sent me highlights of some running back that I'd never heard of who just looked amazing. So like he's already doing research for 2024. I think he can do something with that second round pick. That's the most exciting part of the trade, and I'm all for in Dynasty accumulating those first, second, thirds like right now, while it's like a sneaky good time to get them when everyone's still speculating like, okay, is this going to be an early first or a late first, or who's going to be there in the second, and making magic out of that. You can, and I traded my first over to Matt to acquire Chase. It was a part of a big deal. I lost a lot. Like I lost 2 firsts, Jahmyr Gibbs and Amon-Ra St. Brown for Chase and 2 seconds. So all that to just kind of upgrade receiver.
Yeah.
But whatever. So anyway, just needed Chase that bad. I was chasing victories left and right. Figured I might as well add him. So and it's kind of turned my season around weirdly. Like I don't know. Maybe I'd be doing better with those other guys. But like I feel like I can do something with second round picks. I don't need firsts. Just with how deep I research. So I think Matt won the trade. I don't think Tony. I don't know if he's high on T Higgins. That's fine. I think T Higgins and George Pickens are a wash. And then he's given up a second, so he still has his first, which is good for him. So I don't think anybody like severely lost or anything, but I do think I give the edge to Matt on that one.
Okay. So I think we've hit it all today. So yeah, the Pod Squad is kind of still intact, but not really. And yeah, we have our we have week 10 in the books. We're moving on to week 11. Look forward to our week 11 preview coming out on Thursday. Next week we'll get to talk about Thanksgiving games. So a bunch of Thursday.
Okay.
Remember to set your lineups for that.
And there's a Black Friday game too.
Oh man,
it's like Dolphins and somebody. It's a good game, I think.
Okay, nice. So on the way out, don't forget to do all the things. Tell your friends, subscribe, and comment on the video. Not just if you comment in the live, but go back and comment on the video when it's posted. Why not? Maybe we'll respond with a fun comment there. Maybe.
Did you see my response I gave to that guy smoking dank or something like that in the comment section?
I forgot to look and see what you said.
Yeah, I said. I forget what I said.
He had like a legit question, right?
He did, and I didn't answer it very legitly. So he was like, "What do I do with Bijan Robinson? Cry, cry, cry." And I think I said, like, "Well, I'll tell you what. We're gonna drive down to Atlanta, and we're gonna talk to Arthur Smith and demand an apology to you and your fantasy team." And then I told him, like, "Hey, you're probably starting Bijan just with that draft capital you gave up to draft him or get him or whatever. It sucks, and it's all Arthur Smith's fault." But cheese boy extraordinaire Arthur Smith. It's not Bijan's fault. But I mean, who else are you starting in this running back climate? You're probably starting him. I mean, he's not doing as bad as Tony Pollard. He at least falls in the end zone sometimes, but you'd love to see him get some real opportunity. But yeah, so that's like, we've had like 2 comments lifetime now. Like, so building this thing up. But we appreciate each and every one of you fellers for tuning in and being a 125%er. And, we have, just such a sweet community of young men here. And I think that's great.
Okay, so 5 things. Don't forget them. You need to live, laugh, love, like, and subscribe.
Whoa.